We'll kick off the Easton Economic Development Council meeting, June 10th, 2021. And we'll just jump right into the agenda. The first item is to accept meeting minutes. I'm tempted. I don't recall looking at the meeting minutes. Did any of you guys look at them?
I don't think I received anything this week.
Yeah, okay. I don't think I received it. Yeah. So we're just going to push that to the next meeting. So we'll review the minutes in the next meeting. Next agenda item is the Easton Outside update. So last we met on last Tuesday. The latest and greatest campaign is this Where's Chris promo, where this gentleman who works at the Y, and he's friends with a lot of people within the Easton Outside group, is going to go around town to restaurants, to outdoor recreation places, to stores in town. And he has a really, I'll say, eccentric personality. Like he really comes out of the pictures capture a lot of character. So it's he's doing a great job, and he's going to be all over town, and it's going to be like, you're going to know Chris is at McGuire's, or Chris is at the Y. Go and get your picture taken with him, or get a picture when he's there, post it to social media, and you get a gift card, that type of thing. That's going to be going on for, I think, the next month. I floated out the idea of, over the summer. This is actually good news. Good news mostly. I floated out an idea over the summer of, having an event, and I was met with, everybody is so busy. They have so many activities, all these businesses, that they simply can't do it. So on the one hand, it was like, that's kind of a bummer. We can't do an outdoor event, but it's actually better than that, because they're so busy that they don't have the time and resources to do that. So businesses are doing very well in town. And I think Easton Outside campaign has contributed to that. Dottie, you were in that meeting. What else did I miss regarding Easton Outside update?
I don't think I was at that meeting this week.
Okay. It was last week. I had to dial in from my car. Whenever I dial in from my car, I can't see all the attendees because I only have a small screen. So I thought you were there, but so yeah,
it's all a blur. I think the most updates that I have on the Easton Outside are pretty much what you've just said, and that, the continued enthusiasm for the people that keep coming back every other week during a work day as business owners to brainstorm and be really excited about what are we going to do next is just, the momentum is incredible.
Yeah, and what I've said, I think I've said it here. I know I've said it at the Easton Outside meeting. I don't want it to end. And I want to keep it going through the summer into the fall. I don't know how that's going to happen. I don't know if that's going to happen, but it's gained so much positivity in the town, and it's helped business so much. And it's really forged an incredible relationship between the town and businesses that I feel it's so beneficial to so many people that I want to keep it going as long as possible. As I've said in previous meetings, if you want to be part of it, the meetings are every other Tuesday, 10 a.m. It's a fun group. Everybody has equal say. Nobody really chairs the meetings. And there's always something fun that comes out of it. And because everybody's so busy, we're trying to shorten them to under 30 minutes now, which is really good. So if you're interested in being part of it, contact myself, contact Karen at the Easton Chamber, or Neil at McGuire's, and we'll get you the link, or Stephanie will get you the link, and you can participate. So that is the Easton Outside update. The next item is local. Does anybody have any questions on Easton Outside? Okay. So the next item on the agenda is local rapid recovery program update. So on June 16th, there will be a presentation. Stephanie will be putting out a presentation on June 16th regarding the Easton Rapid Recovery Plan. And if you can remember, I think it was in our last meeting and probably the meeting prior to that, Queesit had a study going on where they analyzed how COVID has impacted that stretch, what can be done to improve that stretch. And also, the town had sent out mailers to ask questions, kind of a survey of sorts of those businesses and what they think could be done to improve business in that corridor. So on June 16th at 8 a.m., the town of Easton and Stephanie will be presenting on the findings of that and what to do moving forward. So it's just a continuation of trying to improve that corridor. So if you're interested in that, you can reach out to myself, you can reach out to Stephanie, and you'll get the link and you can hear it, you can participate. But if you can, a little support goes a long way, especially for Stephanie, who worked really hard on this. And it's beneficial to that area. So any questions on that? No.
Have we seen anything new about the Korea's Plaza? Is that project just dead, or is it just on hold?
I don't think it's not dead. And I think at town meeting, there was an article that was approved by the town that will hopefully cause that project to move. And actually, it's funny you mentioned that, Tim, because somebody asked me that last night. They go, hey, at town meeting, this article was approved. And a large part of that article being approved was to push development in this area. So what are they doing? And I said, geez, I actually don't know the answer to that question. I'm glad you asked, though, because I have to call Dottie, or I have to call Connor and find out, or Greg or whomever, and be like, so what's the deal? What's happening now? So I don't have an answer for you, but it is in the top of my mind. Dottie, maybe you know?
Well, we changed the zoning, tweaked it a little bit. Originally, there was a certain percentage, and I don't know them off the top of my head, but let's say it was, a third business and 2/3 residential. They changed that balance a little bit to reduce the amount of commercial required, because since COVID, the commercial space is really, really hard to promote right now because there's not as many brick and mortar places. So it was going to give them the option and availability to just change those ratios a little bit. But, being very clear, we understand that housing is a part of that component, but I don't think anybody wants to see housing take over that component. The idea is to have business in that area. So I think the developer is trying to find, an avenue, plus financing and all the things that come together with that, to try to make a redesign of that area. So for real detailed updates, we would have to go back to the planning board. That information never comes through the select board or the Economic Development Council, but we would have to seek that out through planning. Stephanie, that's why Stephanie's really great to have on these calls, because she has the bird's eye view of that stuff. But it's moving.
Okay.
Well, I know they went through the ZBA when I was there. So you think they had to tweak their design, which means it'll probably have to get an amendment to their permit, and then but it's still online, so that's good.
It is still online. The owner is absolutely engaged, 100%. To Dottie's point, for that project to be financially feasible for the developer, some things had to change. Otherwise, nothing would ever change. As you see it now, it would permanently stay that way. So that's why I was in support of it then. I'm in support of it now. There were some great questions at town meeting that were asked, about this on all ends of the spectrum, and they were all really good questions. But it hasn't changed my opinion. I do believe this is going to be great for that area. It's like the reverse broken window effect. Bring up one thing, and then everything will come up with it. So I think it's fantastic.
I agree.
Okay, so we have next item on the agenda, local regional pilot program. Okay, so yeah, this is like the bulk of what I wanted to talk about in this meeting. That's the app rollout. I've seen the app. It's really amazing. And it's going to be launching soon, or it's ready. It's out of, I think, beta test phasing, and it's real. When is it going to be launched to the public or allowed to the public, Dottie?
So there were a couple of little, I won't say snags, but when I did a lot of research with a lot of developers and spent a lot of time with them, and the one that we chose had the most to offer at the best price. And so one of the things that came up that we knew was we were going to have to do, and this was 5 towns that were going to do it. So it was Avon, Easton, Brockton, Halifax, and West Bridgewater. Um, the first roadblock that happened is the municipality has to sign a contract with the software developer. Well, imagine how long that takes to put a contract through a municipality, and we're under a really short deadline here. So as always, Easton came out first, reviewed it. We made some adjustments to it. And then because Old Colony Planning Council is the one who got the grant and they're the ones who are going to pay for it. So there had to be a side letter between Old Colony Planning Council and the municipality because the contract is saying, the municipality is responsible to pay for it. So we had to get through that. So we got through that again. Easton was first, then Avon. I'm still waiting on Brockton. West Bridgewater and Halifax dropped out. They didn't want it. They didn't and imagine when we applied for this, it was in February, right? So COVID changed, everything changed a lot. So those 2 towns were like, COVID's over. We don't have that much business. It's not our thing. So it was like, all right, so the next thing that came up, so we stopped moving along with it, is that the town has to sign a developer agreement with Apple so that the app can go on the Apple devices. There's no issue with Android, but for Apple, they want you to sign that Apple developer agreement. Matt, you probably know a lot about that. And it's just another paperwork thing that has to go through the process. So I talked to the guy, the account manager, and I was like, just a little tip for you. Like, you have to give that developer agreement at the same time you do the contract. Now we're going to go through that whole process again, and just delays things. And so Stephanie was working on that, but after you submit the paperwork, you have to wait to get the confirmation from them. So that's kind of where we are right now. It's up to Apple. It could be a week, it could be 2 weeks, but as soon as we get that, we press the button and we go live. So just to tell you some of the features of this, I'll just run through what I had put in the RFQ. The municipality can name the app and they can choose the icons, the backgrounds, and the themes. So there's a picture on it on your phone when you download it. Right now it's the Welcome to Easton sign, but we can change that to, Oak Ames Hall. We can change it to anything seasonally, whenever we want, however we want. And we can change the layout of what that.
This meeting is being recorded.
And we can change the layout of how that looks. There's a dashboard that the administrator, I'm set up as an administrator and Stephanie is, to collect the data site traffic and the downloads. So it's going to be able to tell us how many people have the app and how many downloads and what the traffic looks like. So you could say, wow, a lot of people really use this on Friday afternoons when they're thinking about where they want to go for the weekend or whatever. So that's going to give us some good data because this is being paid for through the grant for the first year. If we want to continue it for the second year, we have to show that there's value to it. And that's going to help us do that. So the municipality loads the businesses and the businesses will be able to claim their site. So right now, if you go on there, all the businesses that we could find are on there. So you might want to go on and claim your site. I flushed out McGuire's just to practice on how to use it and do it and everything. But I added a picture of Honey Hots. I put their hours. I put the website link to their menu. So when you call it up, you can just click either right to the website. You can click to call them. You can click to their menu. You can click to get directions there. It's a lot of information. And if they were having specials on Father's Day specials, they could put that on there. And what they would do is they'll have a portal to make their updates, and then an administrator, me or Stephanie, would have to just accept those. So that's just a security feature that nobody could go try to change somebody else's page. So that gives the business a lot of flexibility as well. The municipality can create subcategories. So businesses, if they wanted to, they could identify as small, woman-owned, minority-owned, veteran-owned, things like that. The businesses will be able to advertise the directory with a QR code. So I'm envisioning that we make a bunch of copies of what telling about the app, put the QR code and ask the businesses to put it in their windows so that when somebody comes up and they see that, they just click on that and download the app, and then they'll have it in the future. Where there's a whole other campaign to get out and do that I'll kind of touch on in a minute. There's news and social media icons. So when you go on this, you can click the social media icon. It connects to the town's Twitter and Facebook and economic development Facebook page. So all those announcements will come up for people. Imagine you're new to the town and you want to find out some of these things. There's a page for government that shows you all the elected officials, their emails, Connor's email, a list of all the departments in the town, and you just click and you could call the building inspector or animal control. You can connect right to bill pay, so you can pay your bills through this app. And this app is not creating the bill pay. It connects to the town's bill pay that's on the website. So it's just like facilitating that. And it's available to download on Apple and Android. And there's just some other cool things. There's, you can look at activities and leisure. It will give you information about the library, parks and recreation, walking trails, you name it. And if we're missing something, just tell me what it is and we'll find a way to make it connect. We can connect to a calendar. So right now it's connecting to the town's calendar that just shows meetings. But if we have a calendar, say the library's calendar has like activities, what we really need to work on next is a calendar for the community. Might be a good project for Easton outside. If we created some kind of a calendar where everyone could put their events, we could connect it to the app. So
I gotta jump in, Dottie, because I've seen the app and I've been able to use the app a little bit, despite it not being quite out in the public. I've been able to see it, and I think no matter what we say won't give it its real justice, because once you see it, you're like, oh yeah, it's what I was expecting. But I'll be honest, when I first heard about this, I'm like, yeah, this app it sounds great, but that's also called the internet. Like, you can find all that stuff on the internet. You can Google anything. It's all right there. But when I first opened it, I was sitting with my wife and I said, you want to go out to eat tonight, or you want to grab something to eat? Well, and we go through the list of the restaurants in town, and it's like, oh, I forgot about this one, that one. So I actually pulled up the app and I clicked on dining, and it's literally in alphabetical order, every restaurant in Easton. And Dottie was saying, some of them are, there's information uploaded or a menu uploaded or something uploaded. And then it's like, well, what else is going on in Easton? Click on leisure activities. And it's literally everything that you could do on any given day, on any given weekend, anywhere you could go without having to search it out. It's literally right there, like within 2 clicks. If you were to Google that, you would have to type it. You'd have to go through the search. There was a lot more work if you were to do it that way. It's literally 2 clicks, and you now have everything right there that's going on in Easton. And it's not just restaurants, it's businesses, it's activities, it's town government information. It is really cool. And I do think I'm blown away that those other towns backed out of this. I'm blown away that they couldn't envision what this could mean for a town. I think it could be a game changer. Like, did they not see the app before they backed out? Because if they had seen it,
they wrote a letter of support. But it was their select boards. So I will tell you though. So I am the one who's doing all of the, working with the developer, getting the business lists, going through, formatting them, classifying them. It's some work on my end, and there was money in the grant for that, for OCPC to do that. But when I was looking at Avon, they have a lot of businesses, but most of their businesses are in the industrial park. They're like, wholesale kind of businesses. They only have a couple of restaurants. So for them, this might not be like, they may not see a huge value in it, because the average consumer is not going to be looking to go buy plumbing supplies at somebody that's in the Avon Industrial Park. So it's not necessarily for everyone. So with the money that was left in the grant, I actually reached out to Stoughton and said, listen, their loss is your gain. If you want to jump on the bandwagon now, I'm going to meet with them this afternoon. I'm going to show them the app. They seem really excited about it. So the cost of the app is $10,700, and $33,000 ish of it is set up in one time. And so if the town was to renew this next year, the cost to renew it would be $7,000. But keep in mind, all the work has been done, all the setup has been done. And $7,000, if this is working and driving consumers to different businesses, and we can measure that through surveys with businesses and through looking at the traffic on the analytics page of the app, $7,000 is, we can find that somewhere.
Yeah.
We could fundraise for it if we had to. It's and it's good for people that are new that come to town. There's a section for health where doctors can put their information. So we need people. There'll be a campaign that we can talk about for messaging. Part of the other amount in this grant was for signs and banners and things like that. And originally I had intended that the other communities would kind of do the same thing that we've already been doing with Easton Outside. And there was some money for Easton Outside to buy more of those signs, the same kind of signs. But now I'm thinking the signs might want to say Easton is open, like really big, and then get the app with the QR code to the app so that we really can promote that and it can follow on the Easton Outside kind of an idea. So I reached out to Heidi, who did a lot of the graphics and stuff for the Easton Outside campaign, just to kind of brainstorm with her a little bit before I came back with anything for the group. The only thing is everything's got to be done and invoiced and paid for and done and out by the end of June. So I'm under a lot of pressure to get these signs done and printed and out. So we're going to have to make a decision on that soon. But there's also, we're going to have to promote the QR code through all of our media channels, social media, hoping that Donna Whitehead will do a story on it. So I'm going to loop you in, Mark, because, you could do a letter to the editor. There's a lot of good creative ideas on how to get the message out about this.
So that was one of that's the reason why it's on the agenda, is talk about the marketing of this. So you're talking about it now. And I have a very simple question. It might sound silly, but in the marketing this, you're going to push it out. What do we call it? We can't call it the app. What is it, like the Easton app? Like what are we calling this? It doesn't have a name other than the app. Right. What I mean? I know it's silly, but it's actually really important. What are we calling this?
That's a good idea. Open suggestions.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, we've just
the Easton app, but we could call it, the Easton Business app, or the Everything About Easton app. Well, I
thought, like Everything Easton app or
Everything Easton. I like. Right,
but I don't want to get this confused with there is a Facebook page called Everything Easton, and I don't want there to be confusion that this is that. But I do also like the idea of calling it Everything Easton app. So let's keep talking about it.
Yeah, think about it and give me some ideas on that. That's something that I'd love to use that when we start to market it. Maybe bring it up to the Easton Outside team. There's some really smart, creative people on there too. But definitely send me that, because I really want to try to hopefully wrap that up. Like, I probably only have, I'm like really under the wire.
Right.
I've already called them and said, like, is there any way to get an extension on this? And then, to add another community on right now, because, I just want to punish myself or something. But it's
what are you thinking?
Excited about it. It's a really, really good opportunity for a community to have. And I don't want to leave money on the table on a grant. And, it's really good for our whole region if the communities around us are also doing the same kinds of promotions.
What are they calling it? Do you know?
No, I mean, you just raised a question I hadn't really thought of yet, so I'm going to have to ask them. But but they don't have a group. The other towns don't have economic development groups or Everything Easton or the Easton Outside groups. So it's really their town administrator saying, "Do we do like there?"
Right.
I would have to probably make a proposal to them. So.
Okay, so you need an answer on that. Do you want to think about it a little bit more now, or do you want us to take that thought home and sleep on it and email you?
Take that home and email.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
but I'm really
Um,
excited about it. I think it's great. I've given it to a couple of people to test out and look at. So I was telling Mark, I figured last Saturday I'd take a ride down to McGuire's to show Neil. So of course I'm not going to go there and leave empty-handed, right? So I placed an order for lunch, got there, and they were like, "Oh, he's not working today." So I'm thinking this is going to cost me a fortune if I keep going there on days he's not there to show him.
yeah. I mean, you could have known. Next time, just make sure he's not there again. So you just keep going back and keep getting more. Just what are the chances he's not here every time?
There's never a bad day to get honey hots, that's for sure.
Yeah. So guys, do you have any questions about the app? Any thoughts? Marketing thoughts? This is a big deal. So what do you guys think?
Yeah. So it's a case where each town will have their own discrete app. It won't be like you're selecting, Easton or Brockton. There's an Easton app, there's a Brockton app.
Right. You'll download it from the App Store.
Okay. And yeah, I mean, I can really see a big use. Something I found is that so many local businesses will post, especially restaurants, right? Like information and specials on social media. Not necessarily, like not everybody has a website. I rely much more on Instagram out here to see what local restaurants are doing for specials and events. So I'm thinking, I would need to look up how to do it, right? But is there a way to aggregate that kind of information into an events calendar like you were talking about, Mark, where I think we would love to see like a centralized events calendar of stuff the town is doing, stuff the Y is doing, stuff the library is doing, plus like whatever special thing Shoveltown is doing. They have trivia every Friday night, right? I know that, but yeah, I think that would be great to see for like a things to do. Because there are so many times where we've just seen something on Instagram and I'm like, oh, that sounds fun, let's go do that tonight.
Right, but can you imagine if you went to one location and you just started to scroll through and be like, that's going on
exactly
tonight, that and that, like, oh, where do you want to go tonight? And you just like, oh, we're going to go to that. You go to one place, you don't have to comb anything, and I look forward to you guys actually seeing, because again, talking about the app without having seen the app is really hard to visualize. We're not giving it justice. I know we're not.
Sounds exciting. Yeah.
John, what do you think?
Yeah, it all sounds good. I feel like I want to see it. And
No.
that would really help. But
I can send the links to you guys all to download it. It's just that you'll have to not, when it comes out live, delete that one and put the other one on. This isn't like available to look at, and so I'll do that. I'll send it to Mark.
okay.
Yeah, Dottie, I think that's great, because I think that's also important. If we're asking this group to think about what to even call this app, they need to see it.
Yeah. All right. I'll do that today and get it out to everyone.
Okay. That sounds good.
That's a good idea, because as you're talking about it, I'm thinking, boy, I really want to see this thing.
Yeah. I should have thought about that beforehand.
And we can modify it and make changes and updates, even after it rolls out. It's going to be a work in progress. And, one of the things that's really hard is that we have a business list, right? Stephanie has one for businesses, but then I got the list of businesses that received PPP money, and also a list of the businesses that receive Mass Growth Capital Grant money. And then the Metro South Chamber has a business list. So I took them all and merged them together and deduplicated, and so it's a really robust list. But there's still some that aren't on there. Like I looked up Inspire Technologies, and it wasn't in the list, so I added them and then played around with it and put a little paragraph about what they are and stuff. So we're going to find businesses that aren't on there that want to be, which is even better. But then think about the real list we're going to have. And one of the things that we want to try to do is when we want to reach out to businesses, say we're going to have a roundtable discussion to talk about, the businesses in the Queeset district. Now we'll have some really good contact information to be able to reach them, or if we wanted to convene, any kind of a economic development summit or group. Now we would, oh, and that was one of the other things this does. It pushes out notifications if the town wanted to say, you know, farmers market Saturday at 10 o'clock, or, you know, you can do a geo search to a particular area and send out a message and say, you know, people who live in this area, we're having some kind of an event, or you could do all kinds of things that way too.
Yeah, so the app is great. You guys will see it, and I think you'll be a lot more excited about it. And we'll give Dottie some feedback via email about some potential names for it. So we
Bruce
can
just put a comment in the chat, so I wrote that down, Bruce. Thank you.
So any other questions before we move on to photonics?
One question: will users of the app be able to interact with the businesses directly through the app, similar to what you see on Yelp, or will they all be, the businesses will be the only ones who could control that, submit their requests, and then the administrators make the changes?
The business would submit the request and the administrator makes the changes. But the user would be able to contact the restaurant, get access to their website, see their hours, you know, however the business wants to set that up.
Okay.
That's a great question, though. All right, so then photonics follow-up. We have this on we have the follow-up on our last agenda item, and Bruce wasn't here, wasn't able to make it for, and in the conversation we said to ourselves, maybe we should table this conversation for when Bruce gets here, because he can speak about it or contribute to it probably better than any one of us. So Bruce, it was on the agenda last time. It's on this time because we never really talked about how amazing it was, and we never really talked about how can we use this? How can we support this? How can we push it out there? Like, what can we do to support this awesome program that they have?
I think the best thing for me to do would be to talk to Cheryl and Ruby again, because I know they have this summer program going on right now. I'm sure what they're really going to want to promote would be the new fall program and coming up like that. So the program's really taken off, and it's going to become part of our new Masters in Engineering program that's going to be coming out too. So there's a lot of changes going on. But you know what? Let me talk to them and see what they have, because I know they've been updating their promotional material as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's something that town could put in we have a weekly newsletter that goes out to thousands of people. If they send that to the town crier, they should subscribe to the town crier, which you can do from the front page of the Town of Easton's website, and see what it looks like. And then if they send us a write-up on it, or even if they send us an infographic on it, we could share that on social media, and we could share it through the weekly email as well.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So
I'll talk with them soon, because I don't know if they're taking any time off during the summer. Probably not, knowing those two.
Does anybody have any questions or comments for Bruce? So when he goes and when he does speak with them, we can plant a seed in his head on something that somebody might be thinking about. No?
Yeah,
Right,
I would just say, let me know what they come back with. I think this, again, we had talked about it back when we did the presentation, which feels like a very long time ago, but it could be a really good thing to feature on the Think Easton website under the Why Easton for Businesses vertical. You know, either we could grab pictures for them, or I would love to come and take some pictures myself. But you know, that seems, especially with the Masters in Engineering stuff coming up, this seems like a really good short, right, selling point for Easton's great for businesses. Stonehill is here. They have this awesome master's program specialized in this field, which is only going to become more important.
Mm-hmm.
State of the art, cutting edge, etc. Right?
Sounds good.
I think that's something that we haven't really spent a lot of time focusing on is workforce development in this area, and that's really tied to that. It's making me think, Mark, I don't know if you want to share with the group what we spoke about at the selectmen's meeting on Monday about an opportunity coming up.
Actually, I do. thank you for bringing that up, Dottie. So we had a meeting a couple weeks ago. Claire Cronin set it up, and it was with Jake Auchincloss, Congressman Auchincloss, and some members of the select board, some members of the school committee. Our delegation was there, and Karen Newman at the chamber was there. And Karen was talking to the congressman, and she shed light on some things that she's been hearing a lot from businesses in town, and that is there are businesses in town that desperately need employees. They're hiring, and they're having a hard time hiring people. There's also people who are still not employed. So, these two groups of people really need to connect. They also have there are also people in town that haven't gotten a vaccine for whatever reason. Whether it's difficult or still questioning it, whatever. I really, politics aside, there are people out there who want it who haven't got it. So the idea, Connor came to me with an idea, and he said, let's do a job fair, and let's do a job fair and a vaccine clinic. So people can show up. You can show up just to get a vaccine if you want. You can show up just for the job fair if you want, and you could show up for both. So I think it's on June 28th. We're going to have a job fair vaccine clinic. Anybody can show up, and we'll highlight businesses, not just in Easton too. So people who live in Easton aren't always just employed in Easton. So we talk to Mass Hire. I actually have a meeting with them this afternoon. We talk to Mass Hire. We talk to the Easton Chamber, and we're going to get some businesses, in Easton, some surrounding communities, and we're going to do an awesome job fair to benefit employees, employers, and in a vaccine clinic. So it's an economic boost. It's a health boost. It kind of, one bird or one stone, three birds, whatever you want to call it. But it's the only. I looked it up, and I can't find any other community that's done a job fair and vaccine clinic. And it was Connor's idea. I'm like, this is a great idea. So that's really exciting, and that's going to be happening at the end of June. So June 28th, I think 4:00, which is a Monday. If you guys are around, you want to stop in, check it out, please do. Come and support it. So, yeah, that's what's going on with that.
Where's it going to be, Mark?
We haven't settled. We haven't ironed out the details. It might be at Frothingham, but it might be too large. I got to talk to Connor. I got to talk to Connor. I don't know the location quite yet, but the bigger it gets, the bigger the venue we're going to need. So.
That might be a good opportunity, Bruce, if your folks have like a flyer or something that, we could have a few copies on the table, or we could have like even something that people could take a picture of with their camera,
or they could set up a table with some materials, some pamphlets, and they could hand it out and talk to people. That absolutely is an option. But Dottie, it's 11:38. So before we segue into anything else, I'm actually going to step out right now. So I'm going to turn it over to you. I apologize and I thank you, but I can't be late.
No problem.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Mark.
All right.
So next up is the website update, Matt.
Great. I have a few quick updates. I know I wasn't in the last meeting. Briefly, what I'd like to share is added a header bar which sticks around through all the pages of the site, which just links to Easton Outside, which we've talked about. Just learn more about Easton Outside. I think it's a good opportunity to get more visibility there. It sounds like there are some potentially exciting things. I think I'm in town the day of this job fair, so I think between that and Photonics, we have some really interesting stuff we could use to build out the Easton for Businesses page. The other things on my list to try to get to are, I think it's getting a picture of Five Corners or some picture of the Five Corners area. And then fleshing out we have a homepage for priority development. And then under that, we have each of the individual priority development districts, but it's really scant. It's a paragraph of text. I'd be interested, and I think this is something, Dottie, I'd probably reach out to you and Stephanie about as subject matter experts, but, is there a way we can build that copy out a little more, maybe mention, especially a lot of the recent projects we've undertaken in the wake of COVID, feels like that's great stuff to highlight for the town being proactive and really helping to support local businesses. And we can talk maybe a little bit, it's not explicitly related to the priority development districts, but I wonder if maybe there's just a way that we can rephrase, rework that page a little bit. We still keep the individual districts below it.
Yep.
As subpages, but maybe that homepage kind of takes on a different purpose a little bit. The only other thing I wanted to share is I figured out I grabbed some census data for the most recent years we had data from and added it to the Why Easton page on the website. In the Easton by the numbers, just a little table. I don't know if it's easiest for me to send the list of data that I picked out for approval, or to share a picture of the table itself. I kept it simple. Here, I can share my screen.
Tish, you would have to, I don't know, can you share your screen, or do you need to be a host?
Oh no, it looks like I can. Great.
There you go.
So this is not published yet, this table. It's been saved, but I haven't pushed it live. I mean, it includes, just some very general demographics about age, about education level, median mortgage costs, area of the town, population per square mile. So I kept it very simple and very general, but I think this is the kind of like by the numbers data we were looking for. Let's see if this will load and we can. Make it it's a complicated process. You can't just like type out a table. You need to create a data source in the back end and then link it. Which is
it looks like you probably got that from the 2019 American Community Survey from the census.
Yeah, that's the most recent data they had on the census website. So they haven't published, I mean, as soon as they publish 2020, I can update it. And that's the great thing. It's just a CSV import, so it's very simple. So yeah, it's population.
At the bottom of the table, you're going to want to have a footnote that tells where the information's coming from and what year it's from.
Okay. So per capita income, median household income, land area in square miles, population per square miles, mean travel time to work. This row, I don't think I'm going to include. And then, just very, very high level demographic data about education. So I can add that footnote at the bottom. You write down American Community Survey. And then, Donnie, I don't know if it's a silly question, but is there like an email that goes out when it says the census data has been published, or?
I'm on their list, distribution list. So when I get that, I'll let you know, because I'm building community information for all of the 17 communities I work with. So I have a profile so far on all of them with that kind of information in it.
Great. Awesome. Okay, so I can add that footnote. And if that data looks good, I can publish it, and then we can keep it, we can update it to the most currently available as soon as we have new results. But yeah, I think worth taking, maybe it sounds like once the app is off your plate, Dottie, and you have a little more free time, we can do some thinking about how to rethink that priority development homepage copy and maybe build it out to a few paragraphs and talk more broadly about the efforts the town takes to help support and develop new business.
All right, terrific. That's great. It's a lot of work, so we appreciate that, Matt. Anybody have any questions for Matt?
Sure, yeah.
Oh, looks great. Good job.
Thank you very much.
All right, the next item that Mark had is general outreach and support. I'm not sure specifically what he was looking at for that, but I think probably with these things coming up, it's going to be important for us to promote them. We usually generally promote things through the town crier, which is the newsletter, or through the town's Facebook, sometimes through the town's website, but that's not really the most effective place for it. A lot of people don't go to the town's website. Easton's ECAT, the cable channel, is also a very good place to do things. We can give them something that's static that they can put on just like a screen share when they scroll through the upcoming events. Or if somebody, if Mark wanted to bring the people from Stonehill and he can do a show, like anyone can do a video or a show or anything to promote on there. So we should probably keep that in mind as an option for, maybe we do a kickoff for the updates to the website and the business directory app, or, and a lot of people watch cable, believe it or not. So it's definitely a good place to promote things. And then we can promote them at our meetings, the select board meetings or any of these. But if people have other ideas of ways to do outreach, let us know. So with that, one other thing I just wanted to mention is that Monday night at the select board meeting, the select board unanimously voted to accept the PACE program. So that's something that we've been working on for years, and it's finally
awesome.
Finally real. And so Stephanie's really in tune with that. She knows what businesses, could certainly be interested in taking advantage of it. I know that we spent a lot of time working on that, and it seemed like a no-brainer in the beginning, but there were a lot of detailed questions, and it was really worth it to take the time to go through those, because it's kind of a wonky policy. And, when other people ask about it, or businesses, a lot of people, including or especially Stephanie, has a really good handle on how to answer those questions. So I know he's not here, but thanks to Dan Smith, he's the one who brought this forward back in like 2017-ish. And it wasn't really a full-fledged program then, but now, he helped continue to keep that in our minds and move it forward. And, Mark certainly picked up the ball on that. So that's my shout out to them. And does anybody have any other questions or things they'd like to see on the next agenda?
Only one thing I just want to add for the website. I think we can definitely promote the app launch when that comes around. I think that's a great place to put it, right on the Think Easton homepage.
Great. All right. Well, with that, we'll take a motion to adjourn.
A motion to adjourn the meeting.
And that was Bruce. A second?
Seconded.
Seconded by Tim. And all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous in favor, no opposed. Well, thanks so much, everyone. We appreciate you taking time out of your busy workday to be here. And until next month, look for an email from me today about the business app.
Great.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you very much.
Have a great weekend.
Bye.
Bye.